Good afternoon, people. Nice to have you back in Sherpa Talk number 4, and special on a Wednesday, not a Thursday. We've got a fantastic guest this afternoon. I'll introduce him later on. But as you've been here for the first time today, I just want to tell you quickly, the aim with Sherpa Talk is to motivate you, bring you a little bit of inspiration. We may be at level 1, but still you need inspiration. So this 30 minutes plus, we want to inspire you to go outside and change your world. So this is a collaboration between Summit, the educator conference, and Schoolscape. And Schoolscape has been one of Summit's partners for the last 5 years. And speaking of Schoolscape, I'm going to invite Peter Morgan. Peter has told me, like said in Afrikaans, fluister in my oor. He's got a special sponsor this afternoon. So Peter, would you please come on stage? I see Peter. I don't see Peter. There he's coming. Hello, Pete.
I'm on. Hey, everybody. I'm Pete from Schoolscape, and we just want to announce this week we have a sponsor. So our sponsors allow us to keep this free for everyone. And today's sponsor gave me the privilege of sharing what they have in store. They said, listen, rather than us talking, going into detail, will you just mention a competition? So our sponsor for today is Parrot. And what they are offering is 2 things. For any school that's interested, they are offering a free IT site inspection. So I know when I often think of Parrot, I immediately think of boards and pens. But what most people don't know is they are actually one of the leaders in interactive technology for school classrooms. So the boards, projectors, the cameras, all of that kind of stuff. So if your school wants a free IT inspection, I'm going to share a link. And what that entails is Parrot will send out a technician to your school that will spend 3 hours, will go through the whole school into every classroom, and at the end, they will deliver a report to you of the tech you have in your school, the quality, gaps, what you think you have, what you don't have. So it's very comprehensive. I think it will take them about 3 hours, another 2 hours to compile. So that is incredibly valuable, and they're willing to do it for free. And the cool thing also is there's no obligation. So they'll give you some recommendations, but you don't even have to use those recommendations. And what's also quite exciting is if you do the site inspection, one school will stand a chance to win a 30,000 Rand classroom setup. So they'll put in a 78-inch board, a projector, Bluetooth speaker, installation, setup, the whole thing. So it's valued at 30,000 Rand. So a big thank you to Parrot. I think we always love it when a sponsor, instead of just telling us about them, actually offer something that's free and valuable. So if you would like to enter that free site inspection, that's for any school that wants it. I'm going to send a link with more details of how you can leave your details. Then the team from Parrot will get in contact and go in and do that. And once again, it's free and there's no obligation, and you stand a chance of winning. So a massive thank you to Parrot. And then, Rian, back to you.
Thank you, Peter. Just a question before you go. You're going to post a link on it in the chat box, or where I see it over there, Enter to get a free site inspection. So please, guys, go there. It sounds fantastic. You can watch the rugby on it, or the cricket when it's back, or whatever. So go for it. Don't leave it out there. Thanks, Pete, and thanks to Parrot.
Also, just at the end of the session today, you'll also get an email with a link. So you don't have to worry about filling it in now. You can do it later. But yeah, I think it's a great prize and great value. All right. Cheers.
Thanks, Pete. Super. Okay, guys, start chatting to us. You'll see on your right-hand side of the screen, there's a little chat box. Hello, Louise. I say there's Louise Reader from Eversdal Primary. Nou, toe kom die rest van julle. Sê vir ons hallo, sê vir ons dag. Don't be shy. Tell us where you're from and just say hello on this Wednesday. Hello, Rian. I see you also. And there they're starting to respond. Thanks a lot. Okay, guys, as I've said, we're going to try and keep it short, between 30 and 45 minutes. If possible, if we can do that. For Igno is so interesting that I wanted to keep him here for 45 minutes. So I'm going to shut up now and give Igno a chance, but I'm going to give a short introduction regarding Igno. I met Igno in Bloemfontein, and I know I can hear you ask, Bloemfontein? Yes. I flew in at 1:15 on a Friday and I had to leave. First flight out was on a Sunday afternoon, and I met Igno at a conference there. And I just thought, I must get this guy to Summit. And now 2020 happens, and I couldn't get Igno to Summit, but I could bring you Igno at this Sherpa Talk. And I really know you're going to enjoy Igno this afternoon. He's a guy who loves stories. He loves photography. He loves leadership. He loves life. And that's what I love about Igno. So Igno, special welcome on Sherpa Talk on this Wednesday, 30th of September.
Rian, thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me into your space, and to everybody else who's over here on this warm Wednesday afternoon in Bloemfontein. I'm not sure what the weather's like anywhere else, but we don't have to drive. We don't have to travel. We can sit in front of our computers. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to spending the afternoon with you.
Igno, love having you here. Guys, thanks for chatting to us. Jaapie Klaasens, Ansie, Kobus Vermeulen, Stian Dippenaar, all of you guys, we really like to hear from you. So please talk to us. We love that. I just want to stop my phone ringing on this side. Probably you can't hear it, but I can hear it. So Igno, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can, in short.
Yeah, I'm just going to be very short in terms of that one, Rian. My name's Igno van Niekerk. I live in Bloemfontein. I am very glad that I don't have to do school readiness tests anymore, because I would have failed. I'm terrible at drawing. I'm terrible at cutting with scissors. I don't have good hand-eye coordination. So I am very glad that I am done with school, because I might not have been allowed into pre-primary school. And yes, I survived PT classes. I think that's my main claim to fame at the moment.
But Igno, at the end, you were also a teacher somewhere in your life.
Yeah, and that was, I think, probably the most wonderful time of my life was when I was teaching, and I still absolutely love teaching. And now, Rian, you remind me of a story that I absolutely need to tell for all the teachers that are here. So if you won't mind, I just quickly need to share this story. But I need to now say that it's got a swear word in it. So if everybody's okay, just say yes in the text chat if I can say, a swear word. If no, then just I'll warn you when it comes. So all teachers will know when you start teaching, Rian, is that incredible thing that you study a certain subject, you go off to your first day of teaching, and that you find that you have to teach something completely different. And I'm not sure any teacher who's gone through that. You can let me know in the text chat and I'll know. But I will never forget, I was in the Free State and I had English. So as one of my subjects, I was appointed as history teacher. And on the first day, the timetable changed and I was now the English teacher. But that was okay. But the second thing that comes along are these things called extramural activities. Many of us will know them, buitemuurse activiteite, where you have to do some kind of sport and stuff. And I will never forget them asking me, and as I told you, I'm terrible at hand-eye coordination, big muscles, sort of small muscles, those kinds of things. And I'll never forget, I walk in and they say, so what have you done before? We need to give you some extramural activity that you can coach. And I said, well, when I was at school, I played a bit of chess. And they said, well, that's awesome. You are now the pole vaulting coach. And for me, it was just, okay, so now I was teaching pole vaulting. Now, Rian, you will notice that for the past, I think, 20 years after Okkert Brits, South Africa has had no pole vaulters at the Olympic Games because of the damage that I did when I started teaching pole vaulting. I think it just got through the system. But now here we were. So the story continues where we then had to, it was the 1990s. It was a really confusing time in education. You think 2020 is confusing. The 1990s was politically, it was strange times. Everything changed. Schools opened up. It was Model C, Model D, Model B, that all kinds of models, Those were usually symbols which I missed on my report cards, A, B, C, sort of and D. But the models that I got on my report card were not there for schools. Anyway, so we had to do marketing. Now, some of you might know Bethlehem. We have two schools there. It's Voortrekker and Witteberg. And many of you will know that when you have two schools in Kroonstad, it's Rooi School and Blou School, and in Cape Town, you've got your schools and you've got your grey PE, grey Bloemfontein schools. And So the main thing for the year is who wins the first team rugby. The school results are something different, but in Bethlehem, first team rugby was the important thing. And I will never forget, we now had to gather kids because we didn't know what was going to happen. We had to do marketing, Rian. Now, as a teacher, I was now a teacher, a history teacher, becoming an English teacher, becoming a pole vault coach, and now someone had to do the marketing. Luckily, that fell onto the woodwork teacher. And here's the picture I want to see, because all the teachers in this group will identify with this situation. So here we are. It's Goble Park in Bethlehem. It's February. It's heckishly hot. Most people remember Bethlehem for the winter when you just drove through there on the way to the coast and how cold it was. But I promise you February. So it's a Graanveld athletics meeting. And here our woodwork teacher is sitting. He's doing the marketing. Now he's looking around. He has to look for kids in grade 7, standard 5 at the time. So he has to find kids who are good at, athletics or something, and then we can offer them a bursary and we might win the rugby next year, all that kind of thinking, And so he's sitting on Goble Park on the pavilion. He's looking now. And so two things happen at the same time. It's the boys under 13. I think it's 1,500 meters. Maybe a teacher can help me right, but I think it's 1,500 meters. They always start on the other side. And he reckons as the shot goes, you usually see the smoke first and then you hear the shot. But he says there's this mother arising next to him on the pavilion. And she screams at the top of her voice. She screams for her son. She screams, Jannie, breek, which means, Jannie, you have to break now. Get out of the bundle. And she says, but nothing is happening. He's now, Kali, our teacher, is now looking for Jannie to break out because he's a mother. Teachers will know she can probably sell pancakes. He says she looks as if she can eat pancakes. Sort of the kind of person you want to have at parent evenings. All those things involve parents. We all want them. Not the chopper ones, the involved ones. And so Kali's watching this, but he says no one's breaking out of the bundle. He says second round comes, and she's starting to walk down the pavilion, but it's like the Dead Sea opening in front of Moses as these kids are making way. And she says, Jannie, breek, no. It's a break now, but nothing. The bundle remains intact. Now for the last round, they usually ring a bell. And she's standing at the corner and she says, Jannie, breek nou, anders neek pa jou vanaand. Otherwise, Dad's going to punish you tonight. But nothing. The whole bundle remains intact. So they finish. And Kali, our teacher, he says he walks up, but now he's missed the first 6. He was now supposed to look at who the top 6 are. He's following this little guy. And he says it's this kind, now he's following the mother so that he can identify the boy. Here's this boy. He wasn't close to the top 6. And he says, but he's given it his all. And he's standing there breathing heavily. And his mum walks up to him. Now she towers above him. She says, Jannie, sien jy het nie gebreek toe ek sê jy moet breek nie. Nou het jy nie 'n plek gekry nie. You didn't break from the bundle when I told you to break. And now you didn't even get a place. And this boy, she says he's looking up at his mum. But he's dreadfully tired. And he's trying to catch his breath. And he says, Ma, Mum. She says, Ma sê die hele tyd ek moet breek. You're telling me to break. He said, this is where you now need to close your ears if you're sensitive. But he sê ek kak om in die bondel te bly. And to me, that was just the metaphor for all that teachers do. Everybody's telling you to do more, to be better, to teach another subject, to be online this year, to prepare the kids better. And you're just trying to stay in the bundle. So for all the teachers, and probably other people in this session, I know that you're really battling to stay in the bundle like poor Jannie while everybody is shouting at you to break out. And I think we just need to breathe this afternoon and say, okay, how can we relax a bit?
Igno, you see, guys, that's why we have Igno here this afternoon. So you'll remember this, and you probably ask Igno to tell you it again so that you can repeat it tomorrow in the staff room. But that's really a fantastic story, and that's the whole thing of trying to keep all balls in the air when you're a teacher, or even a parent, when the parents suddenly realize they are like teachers. So let's get to your part. If you would have been invited to the summit this year, what would you say to the teachers or let's say the delegates? There's not only teachers. but you gave me a title, and I've mentioned to the guys that you're a keen, not a keen, you are a professional photographer also, and you gave me a title, Leadership, Make Light and Shadows Dance, and that sounds exciting. So, ladies and gentlemen, handing over to Igno for the next 15 minutes. Igno, please take us away, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm first just going to ask in the chat box if you can see my screen over here. Someone can just give me a Y for yes, so I know. And I'm going to start off with photography, and I'm very glad to see my friend Hannes Pieterse is in the session, because he's a genius photographer, which absolutely makes me nervous now to say what I need to say. But I'm going to share with you something, and the first thing that I want to share with you is, as you sit there right now, some of you might have already started reading your emails or doing other kind of things, but I just want you to do the following with me. All I want you to do is to take your hand and turn it into a lens so that you can look through the lens, and then find anything in the room that you can look at. Okay? Have you got your hand? You've got the lens, and you can look at anything. And now I want you to move it to the left or the right, or up or down 1 centimeter. And you'll see the picture changes completely. And once again, you can just let me know in the text chat, can you see the picture changing completely? By the way, I see Quentin, Andrew, Peter, Yapi, and Susie are with me. The others, as we always tell the kids in the classroom, the Y on your keyboard is in the top row, right under the numbers, if you need to use that. And someone says he's looking at a bottle of Beierskloof. He's now sort of definitely looking at something else. Maybe he's got 2 bottles. And what I want to share with you when I start with that is the really important, this is such a powerful point. I'm just going to show you a camera, and you'll remember these old cameras, and we had what we call the viewfinder over here. And with a viewfinder, you would look at something. But if you do this or that or this or that with the camera, you just tilt it or move it, the angle changes completely. And I want to talk to you about how we can change angle, and how changing our angle can literally change our life. Because you see, when you see something, you always tell yourself a story about it. So when I see a person, I might look at their suit and say, well, that's a rich person or the poor person. You immediately tell yourself a story. Now, how quickly do you think we can tell stories? I'm going to tell you a story to demonstrate how quickly we tell each other's stories or ourselves stories. This is a fictional one, so I'm off with the kids to school when my daughter finds in the cubbyhole, she finds my wife's lipstick, and she paints her lips. I don't see it. It's primary school. As I drop them off, I see her complete mouth entirely red. This is a nightmare. So I take out my handkerchief and I just wipe it, and then I drop her off and I leave, and I've got a conference to attend in Joburg. So I attend. 2 days later, I come back and, I put my clothes in the washing, and for some reason, my wife goes through the clothes and she finds this handkerchief. Guess how quickly she tells her a story, herself, because of this handkerchief full of lipstick that she finds in my, in my trousers, in my pants. She obviously already knows the woman, she knows the place, she knows what happened, all kinds of things. That's the stories we tell. Although it was just an innocent, I wiped my daughter's face. Now, this luckily didn't happen, but I want to share with you, that's the kind of the speed at which we tell ourselves stories. So when I see something, I immediately tell myself a story, and that evokes a feeling. If I put a picture of a politician, and you can think of any politician you dislike in front of you right now, you tell a story to yourself and you have feelings about that. So what we see determines how we feel. And then what happens is we act on our feelings, and because of how we feel, we take certain actions. And because of the actions we take, we get certain results. So depending on the angle you look at things from, you will get results in life. And I'm just going to switch to the next slide. Yes, just quickly prove that life works very much like a camera. It's like a mirror. Here you have the mirror, and you see in this leaf of grass, if I can put it that way, you see other plants. But if I change the angle, and I go to another one, you might see that I can now see, there's even a mountain in that one if you look far enough. And what I really like about that one is the fact that when you can see mountains, isn't that just magnificent? So I can move the mountain by moving around with my camera and just changing perspective once again. So what I want to share with you is, what's your angle on life? Because people will tell you be positive. It's not that easy to just be positive. And I'm just quickly having a look at the time. I see we're 20 minutes in already. And my friend Rian Truter is on this session. So Gerrit, excuse me if I steal your story quickly, but I'm just going to repeat. So Gerrit walks into Exclusive Books and he sees a girl sitting in front between the shelves, and she's blocking his way. She's sitting right between the shelves where he has to walk through. So how does he feel? What story does he tell himself? Probably that it's a typical teenager. Look at that. She's just sitting there, this generation, And so what does Gerrit do? Well, he's got two choices. He can either ask her to move, or you can just sort of feel bad. And what does he do? He acts on his feelings. He turns around, but he wants to give her one dirty glance as he walks past the shelf. And as he looks down, he sees, but this girl's got no arms. She has to sit there because she's taking books out of the shelves with her legs, and she's paging through them with her feet. Now, what does Gerrit see? He doesn't see a disruptive, angry, kind of rebellious teenager. He sees a crippled girl. Now, how does he feel? He feels sorry for her. What does he do? He engages in conversation. What does he get? Maybe a new friend, maybe someone with a common interest. What changed in the picture was absolutely nothing. The only thing that changed was Gerrit's perspective, his way of looking at it. So that's the first thing I want you to be aware of today, is the power of this viewfinder and how tilting it, that thing which we did, the 1 centimeter, the few millimeters to the left or to the right, and what huge difference that makes. And today's topic, I said to Rian, I want to talk a bit about shadows. This picture is a flat picture. It's not a nice picture. I tried my best as a photographer. Just quickly want to see in the text chat whether you can see the picture. So just give me a Y. It also gives me some kind of indication. It's like a teacher. When we started learning to teach, they said, ask a general question so that you can see that all the kids are awake, and then you can be more specific and ask one. So I just want to check who's still with me, but Gerrit, Stian, Louise, Jaapie, Krishna, Peter, Renier, and Piero. And then after mentioning their names, some others will come to life and realize, oh, damn it, the teacher's checking on us. So lovely. This picture doesn't work because there's no drama, because there's very little shadows. And in our lives, we need to make light and shadows dance. This is just a flat picture. But when there's drama, in the sky, when there's shadows, things are different. Just imagine your life. Imagine you were born, nothing happened. Went to school, nothing happened. University, nothing happened. Started working, nothing happened. Got married, nothing happened. Had kids, nothing happened. I don't know how, but anyway, sort of became a grandfather, nothing happened. When you die, your insurance is not going to pay out. It's going to say you never lived. How could you die? How could you, if you never lived, you were dead from the beginning. And that's why we were made for drama. But where does drama come from? Where does the way we look at things come from? Because there are shadows. And how do I turn shadows into things that dance with the light to have a kind of balanced life? And this is where I'm going to move to the second part of this. So we looked at the viewfinder, and you'll remember the sequence. I see something, I tell myself a story or make meaning. That's what we say. Whatever meaning I make makes me feel. How I feel makes me act. What I do makes me get results, and life becomes one big mirror. So depending on how I look at life, that's what I get from life. But where does this come from? If you can give me any clue, any one-word clue in the chat as to where do you think this comes from, that certain people look, sort of, what's that old story? Two men look through prison bars. The one sees mud, the other stars. Why does the one look down and the one up? What's the difference? Just any, and then some people just want to see if you can give me a one-word kind of answer here in the text chat. I'll keep a look on that because there might be a bit of lag. But this is now the settings on the camera. This is where you start playing with on the camera at the top you have settings. And I'm going to give you, and once again, thanks to Gerrit, I'm going to give you the shortest motivational speech ever, but it will take care of all the motivational speeches you've ever heard. So any motivational speaker will come to a conference and they will say, what would you like to have? Would you like to be rich, or would you like to have a beach house or drive a Porsche or whatever? And then the motivational speaker will just say, well, okay, if that's what you want, draw your vision board or have your vision or set your goals and make them smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound, And then he'll say, okay, and this is what you need to do. And, sort of now you do what you need to do in order to get what you need to get. And guess what? You will have it. But you see, once again, old Gerrit comes along and he says, Igno, they've got it wrong. Because they start with, what do you want to have? Then what do you need to do? And when you get that, you'll be happy. So it's have, do, be. Now just listen to this. If I decide to be first, what do I want to be? I want to be happy. I can be that right now. Any of us in this group can be happy right now. Some of you might say, sort of, and I'm just going to look because of conditioning, as Gerrit says, because of perspective, as Andrew says, because of love, attitude, culture. You create your own. So how do you want to be? Now I can still do what I need to do, and I can still get what I need to get, but I will be a happy person doing it. And that's where most people forget, because most people think once they have something, they'll be happy. And this is a quote, once again, Gerrit, all credit to you for teaching me this in a nursery in Bloemfontein. And this is, if you are what you have and you lose what you have, then who are you? Listen to carefully. If you are what you have and you lose what you have, then who are you? If you are what you do and you lose what you do, then who are you? People get retrenched and they're down in the dumps. They feel very sorry for themselves because they've lost their identity. But if you are who you are, that's who you are. No one can take that away. Maybe disease or something, when you start forgetting stuff, or really lose your mind in a kind of way. But no one can take that away. But why has the world changed our settings, on top of the camera, so that when we look through the viewfinder, we look at the stuff we want to have, and we forget that we can have the setting of be a happy person. Some of the happiest people, some of the friendliest people I meet in South Africa are very often some of the poorest people. I've been in the Drakensberg over the past week, and you walk over there and you find people walking, sort of in the middle of nowhere to wash their clothes in a river. And you engage in conversation, and they're much friendlier than some of the people that you find in the middle of, if I could put it somewhere in the city, where they glare at you through their car window. You know those people with the cars, eh? You get them in specifically, I'm not sure whether anyone here is from Joburg. You can just let us know. But I mean, those people, they've got the McDonald's next to them. They've got the newspaper because they're in traffic. They've got the tablet. They're hiding it from the thieves. They've got their music system going. They're doing makeup, many of the men as well. And then you turn in front of them with your little Free State card, and they've got a spare finger for you. It's absolutely insane how we multitask, and we forget that we just need to be happy, be where you are. And Louise, I see you say, through what lens am I looking? Through what glasses am I looking? So I'm just quickly going to summarize these two aspects. It's be, do, and have. Now, what you decide to be, at the settings will determine what you see. And what you see determines how you feel, what you get, and, sort of that whole sequence that I decided. So, Ivanda, I see you from Joey's. Yes, but you had a holiday in Cape Town that I'm aware of, so good for you. So now be, do, and have. But where does being come from? Why are some people still powerful enough to tell a powerful story to themselves? And I'm just mindful of the time. We're on half an hour, Rian. I think I'm going to need another 10 minutes. Is that okay with you? And if anyone's got questions, you can ask questions in the text chat, and I'll see if I can interact. But I just want to check in with Rian if all's okay. Okay, let's fly then. So the next one is Simon Sinek does this talk about why, how, and what. And I'm just going to summarize and say, if you've got a big enough why, you will find any how. It's an old quote that you'll find all over the internet these days, ascribed to everybody. But a why gives you a purpose, gives you a reason to do something, gives you context. And the moment those teachers in here, you know why you teach, so you love teaching. But sometimes you have to fill in registers and you have no clue why you have to do that. And that's the most negative part of your day, because you sit there and you have no clue where this is going. Why do I need to fill in this report? No one's going to read it. But a why gives power. And in terms of teaching, a teacher who starts with saying, I want to make a difference in kids' lives. What do they do? How do they teach? It's straightforward. They teach with passion. What do they get? They get a salary. That's what they do. They teach. But another kind of teacher comes in, they work for the salary. They start with a what? How do they teach? We all have had them. I think there's about 60% of them on all staffs, sort of, they read from the book. They're disinterested. They get, distracted by the kids because they actually don't want to teach. But why do they teach? What's on the inside? They teach for the money or, the survival, or until they find something better to do. Your why becomes your story. Your story becomes your being. Your being determines your seeing. So that's the lens. Why, how, and what sits here in the center. So that's what comes into myself with my own story, why, how, and what. This is, I then make settings, I change the settings, and I look through the viewfinder and I see a different picture. But then there's more. And that's the wonderful part of the camera. Especially in the modern digital cameras, we've got a memory stick. And we've all got memory sticks. Each and every one of us sitting here have got a past. And some people say, my past really sucks. And most people today will tell you they've had a worse past than the person next to them. I remember my dad had to climb over 5 mountains barefooted to get to school with a donkey cart, had to trudge through the cow dung and do all those things. By the time I told my kids that story, I was going up 3 mountains and none of them had a downhill. It just kept going uphill, uphill, uphill. Because we so love to be victims, don't we? Whereas the really happy people are the people who take the memories and turn them into sustainable things which makes you feel and be better. Gerrit, can I defrag my memory stick? Absolutely, and I'm going to share with you how. The fact of the matter is, we choose our stories. We choose which stories you remember. Some people will always go back. It becomes a signature story. All was well until the teacher told me that. The teacher's dead by now, but they still tell you about that moment in their lives, which became a defining moment. And how do you tell the story? Some of us have gone through tough times. What do you do with the tough times? Do you turn them into a lesson so that you can teach others and guide others? Or do you become a victim and say, because it's happened to me, it will also happen to you? Like people say, I went to the army or something, and therefore these new generation of kids, they don't know anything. They don't have any discipline. It's not their story. It's their past and your past. But can you use your past, your story? And the Sun people have got this marvelous way of saying, sort of the past is, we always say the future's ahead of us, eh? As you sit there, where's the future? Future's ahead of me. The past, leave the past behind you. And some people say, no. That's the future. You can't see it. This is the past. You see it. And you choose what you want from the past and you walk backwards into the future. And that's what gives you either energy or drags you down. Is your past pulling you down today? Are you a victim of so many things? Or are you saying, hey, bad things happen to me, but guess what? I'm a victor. It's fascinating in Stephen Covey's book, The 8th Habit, where he talks about the fact that, sort of the opposite of vision is victim. And the question is, if you don't have a vision, you will always be a victim because you will always be part of someone else's plan. And that's the memory stick or the film that we used to have So I just saw a quick message about bandwidth. Can you all hear me okay? I just want to check there and just say why, if you can still hear me okay. It seems okay on my side now, but yes, thank you for those of you still with us. So after the memory stick, there's 2 more things that I want to, and this one, as I say, my friend Hannes will remember. Who else knows what this is in terms of photography? This will give your age away, surely, because let's see if someone can put it in, but not Hannes, who knows that. Yeah, well done. There we go. And Pine and Gerrit. This used to be the flash that you'd put on the camera, and it would fire, and then it would turn, and you'd had 4 flashes. There we go, Piero. And the flash is about light. When you look at all these things about your being and how your being determines your seeing and how your being is determined by your purpose and how your memory helps you create purpose because it's part of the tool set, what kind of light are you casting on other people? Most photographers go for the good light. And that's why, sort of they use reflectors, they use big flashlights. They don't use these pop-up flashes. Why? Why go through so much trouble? Because photography, photo means light, graffiti, it's painting with light. And you want to paint the most beautiful picture. I only use a pop-up flash when I take pictures of my mother-in-law, because then she gets those red eyes and she's got this spot in front of her head. And I use soft light on myself and the kids. And then I show her the pictures and I say, look, this is us. But look, something is still wrong with you. You see the red eyes and stuff. We're really working. And the fact of the matter is, are we casting good light on other people? Because that's what we're here for. If you consider all these things that I said today, what's your purpose? Probably to enlighten, delight, sort of other people. That's why you teach. That's why you are a being. But this flashlight and the settings have to cooperate. You bring your story to every meeting you have with someone. You bring your purpose to every interaction you have with someone. You bring how you see them, how you feel about them, what you do and what you get to all that. I was walking with my daughter in the Drakensberg, and I always greet everybody because people have got so much stories to tell. And I was saying hi to people, and she says, but Daddy, do you know all these people? I say, I don't. I haven't met them before, but I think I know them. And I think that should be our attitude. But there's one last thing, Rian, and then I'll be on time and in time. And if there are questions, please feel free to ask. But that's especially the modern cameras have got one thing that I haven't mentioned. Who can think what that is? Because that's the whole thing that makes the camera work. Love Pierre's comment here on unicorn. And we've got a few smiling faces, and I'm still glad to see some few of you knew the flash. And what's the one thing? The mirror, yes, Andrew. And these days you get mirrorless cameras. So the mirror is part of the seeing. And I want someone to add on to that. The light setting, Pine, yes, and Japi, the battery. Especially the digital cameras. If they don't have a battery, they can't work. And that's the energy. So I can have all these settings, but if I don't have energy, guess what? It's not going to work. But for me to have energy, I need to recharge. And hopefully this session just recharged you a bit, made you think a bit differently, because that's what we need to do. That entire camera, the way you look at life, if you're tired, you look at life through tired eyes and things look negative. If you're negative, everything's negative. Have you ever noticed sometimes you say, why must everything go wrong at the same time or break because that's what your eyes are seeing. I've heard some people saying 2020 was the worst year ever. Today's the 30th of September. There's 25% of the year left, but we want to define the entire year already. You've got 3 months to make it the best year ever. It's your choice. Some teachers said, oh, the online learning is horrible. Some of them said, wow, awesome. I've now found new ways to engage with the kids. And so, yes, from my side, I want you to just consider, where do you recharge? Because that's the one thing I want you to be very aware of. If we don't recharge, you can have a why, you can have purpose, you can have story, you can have memories, but you've got tired eyes. And as a photographer, I've learned that things will always open up to the person who's alert, who's awake, and who's got shiny eyes. And with Rian, maybe if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask. But maybe with that, I'm going to hand over to you.
Igno, thanks a lot. Guys, you see, that's why we wanted Igno on Sherpa Talk. But Igno, I want to latch on to your last comment. How do you recharge?
Rian, your question was, how do I recharge? Just quickly want to check whether I heard correctly.
I think we've lost Rian to the internet bug that's stolen his internet. He asked that question, how do you recharge?
Okay. Well, I think there's several ways. And I think the first is, either having breakfast with friends, sort of a cup of coffee. But I've learned that the one thing we shouldn't do to recharge is think you need a long holiday. You know, you can recharge in 2 minutes by tasting your coffee. You can recharge in 5 minutes by having tea in the garden. But we think we need to rush down to the ocean, you know, sort of, especially us from the Free State and Gauteng. We meet each other at Van Reenen's Pass. We rush to the ocean. We rip off our shirts. We burn to smithereens. For 3 days, we can't walk. We've got sunscreen all over us. Then it starts raining. We go to the movies. You can't go, you tell the kids it's either the movie or the popcorn because they're too expensive. We rush back. At Van Reenen, the Gautengers are going back to Gauteng to fill in their short-term insurance for whatever's been taken out of their houses. We come back to the Free State, and we think that's holiday. That's not a holiday. That's tiresome. We need to recharge by taking a walk, I don't know, playing with a cat. I don't know. Yeah, Rian, you've got a new dog there that you showed earlier. Having a cup of coffee, having a cup of tea. It's the little things that recharge us. But the main recharger is the way we think. News 24 is not going to recharge you at 6 o'clock in the morning if you find out everything that's bad in the world.
Agree. Last question. Tell us a little bit about your book. You've written a book, Light on Leadership, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Rian, here's the book. And if anyone's interested, they can connect to me because the website's down as things happen. But this is about the photographer teaching people about life, many of the things which I discussed today, but it's in story form. So, and it was beautifully designed. I can say that because I didn't do the design myself, by a friend of mine. So there's letters and there's, you know, all kinds of pictures in it. And yeah, if anyone wants to drop me an email at igno@ignovanikerk.com, there's an ebook available. And I don't know, we can probably put it on a special price, Rian, for people on this session. We haven't spoken about this, but I'm just giving you my email address there if you want it. Rian, for me, the book has taken me on a tremendous road because it's become a workshop where we use cameras and take pictures out before lockdown. And we literally take pictures and we discuss these things and we tell stories around the campfire at night. And we have all those kinds of things. But the wonderful thing about the book, and by the way, if anyone can't afford it, also drop me an email. I will send you a copy because I always believe that in sharing. But the wonderful thing is this book has taken me into places I would never have seen before because I had to present workshops on it, which I would never have done before. So any of you wanting to write something, just apply your mind. It takes 5 minutes per day or 1 sentence per day, and within a year, you're 365 sentences further.
Okay, Igno, I think we got to the end of our afternoon. We could have gone on for the whole afternoon, but we can't pay you. I said to you before we started, we don't have money to pay you. But what I can sort of tempt you with is maybe some other inspiration. And this is not bath salts or bath oil. There's something to give you new light in your eyes. But too much of this, you won't see too far or too clear. So this is a small appreciation from our side and from Beyers Kloof, Igno, just to say thank you very much for this afternoon. This will be on its way to you. So please share it with your friends and your family, all of them who allowed it to drink over there in Bloemfontein.
We'll share with everybody who's attended. And then, Rian, thank you for the opportunity. I see some people have said they'd love a hard copy of the book. Just drop me an email. And I think the easiest way these days is pep stores to pep stores. You know, that seems to work well. But Rian, I want to thank you for the opportunity. It was absolutely awesome spending time with you and Pete and them behind the scenes. It was wonderful meeting your team. And for everyone who's attended, it's Wednesday afternoon. It's a tough time. It's 3 o'clock. You could have a lot of rest and you attended this session. So yeah, from my side, thank you. And I do hope that you do just one thing differently, and that's just change angle and change your life. Thank you.
Thanks, Igno. Guys, thanks a lot for watching and listening. We really appreciate you. Please go out and spread the word. Tell people you can see all of the sessions, the previous one and this one on YouTube. So if you don't know where, go to the Schoolscape website or just type in Sherpa Talk plus the first name of our presenter and you'll get there. When you get there, please like it with a thumbs up. Then we'll climb the ladder to get easier recognizable. So thanks to the people at Schoolscape, Peter, Anneke, and Dan behind the scenes. Thanks to Parrot for giving us away that fantastic prize. And thank you also for Beyers Kloof for putting a little bit of inspiration into Igno and everybody around him. We really appreciate you. Guys, mooi loop, veilig bly. Hope to see you next month with a new Sherpa Talk. Keep well. I'm going to wave like the Queen. Bye-bye, all of you.
Like the Queen. Bye.